Hello and welcome to 6.2 Technical Model Assignment by Jago Hussain. What is a technical model? A technical model is an ideal performance or technique that is effective and can be idealized if it is seen as a perfect technique. Or on the other hand, it can be used to show what you should not be doing if it turns out to be easier to explain that way. Most of the time, a technical model is something that is seen as the ideal or perfect technique for a particular performance or even a small fraction of a performance. Technical models are used all the time, particularly for highly technical and intricate sports. Within a technical model, there is more qualitative feedback and implementation than mechanical because you are directly comparing their performance to a model. Qualitative data describes how the performance is done using detail and various cues that can impact the athlete's performance without using numerical methods of explanation. The primary reason that a technical model is used in favour of other methods is because it uses more detail than other methods, as well as being able to directly compare it side by side visually with a perfect model of the technique needed to enhance performance. Furthermore, there are a few ways to determine and gather enough information to almost create your own technical model. These ways to determine a perfect model are literate and elite level athlete based, a combination of subjective. Literature based is created by reading about the perfect technique and researching it, looking for key keywords to use with athletes to help their performance. An example would be if you wanted to be a good coach, you could look at the national governing body's coaching/guidebooks. The elite level athlete based approach is done by analysing professional athletes in their field and using parts of different techniques to create what you believe is the perfect model and basing it off current successful elite level athletes in their sport. A combination is self-explanatory in the way that it used both literature and elite level athlete based and combines the two to create what is believed to be the perfect model. Finally, a subjective method is where you interchange what method you used based on several things such as the elite athlete, the competition, the environment, the preference of the coach, etc. However, even if people didn't fit the perfect model and have unorthodox form, they still may have success. All of these methods have positive and negatives to each of them, making them more and less effective in different circumstances. For example, in literature, some of the positives are that there is already a given way of explaining the perfect model to the athlete since it's all written. However, it does not provide an image of the perfect model, meaning that it can be hard to visualize the perfect model trying to be achieved. Furthermore, an elite level athlete based is the opposite to literature in the way that it is good because it provides a visual model. However, it does not explain it in a way that you are able to transfer to personal experiences. Combination is good because it gives both a visual and written model, but it can be difficult to bring together in one final model because there are so many different sources and you'll be combining written descriptions that may not match the visual model trying to be achieved. Subjective is the best, in my opinion, because it provides both written and visual models. However, they are not all used at once as it depends on the athlete and coach combination to what will be the most effective for that specific coach and athlete at that specific time. Based on this, I believe that a subjective approach is the best because, for example, one athlete may be a beginner or physically incapable of completing the technique asked of them, which may demotivate them. It could also interfere with something else within the performance that the coach has been trying to implement, meaning that they may get confused between different focus points. Next is the data collection methods. Data is usually collected by videos in sport because they can be replayed and analysed endlessly, as well as compared to the perfect technical model to help the athlete to improve each part of their performance. For quality data collection, certain softwares that are recommended are Coach's Eye and Dartfish, for examples. However, Dartfish is very expensive, which will provide limitations of access. To get the best data possible, the correct angle for what you are looking for must be used to film the video, so that you are able to analyze in lots of detail and have endless options on how you can use the video for analysis. An example of conducting a technical model, I will be using an open side hockey shot as my example. There are 3 different stages to a technical model: the preparation phase, the execution phase, and the recovery phase. In the first phase, preparation of an open side hockey shot, is to make sure that your front foot is lined up to where you want to hit the ball. Next, you should make sure your weight is evenly balanced on both feet and that your head is over the ball. Then you have to bring your stick back in preparation to hit the ball. This is all in the preparation phase. In the execution phase, you have to bring your stick back down in a controlled swing, making sure it is not wild, as if it is dangerous, it can be called as a foul. You have to make sure that you keep your head over the ball throughout the action, therefore meaning the shot will be controlled and it's unlikely to fly off in a direction you don't want it to. Next, strike the ball with the open face of your stick in order to get a more controlled and powerful shot. Lastly, make sure you keep your eyes on the ball while striking it, as this will mean you'll have a more clean strike and are less likely to scuff the ball. The recovery phase to this shot can be many different things. First of all, you must keep your head down as you strike the ball, as the ball leaves your stick, as this will prevent it from being struck over the bar. What happens next depends on what the outcome of the shot is. If you score the shot, then make your way back to the halfway line and wait for play to restart. However, if you miss and it goes wide, then set up in an early press position, if your team does this, and wait for the opposition to take the 16. And finally, if you strike the ball and the keeper saves it and they hit it back into play, then either collect the rebound and create another chance, or you should re-lead into a new position so the person who collects the rebound can find you and make an open shot. Moving on to the technical model for a jump shot in basketball. In the preparation phase, you should make sure that your knees are bent at a 45-degree angle, your elbow is at a right angle, the ball is resting in the palm of your shooting hand, and your non-shooting hand is resting on the side of the ball. In the execution phase, you must jump off the ground, and then when you are at the highest point, push your arm up so it's straight up against your ear, and then at the last second, flick your wrist when you release the ball. Some coaches use the term grabbing the cookies from the cookie jar as a good way to describe this to young players. It is important that you shoot the ball upwards and forwards instead of shooting it forwards, as this will mean that there is a large area for the ball to hit the net, meaning the chance of it going in will be higher. In the recovery phase, you could hold your form of the shot after you release the ball in order to check the form after taking the shot to make sure you've done everything right. And this can also make sure that you don't rush the shot and release the ball early. Next, we'll be comparing the person we are analysing against the perfect model. As you can see in these images, on the right is the participant in the preparation phase compared to the perfect model on the left. As you can see, his knees aren't bent at a 45-degree angle. However, they have a slight bend in their legs, but compared to the perfect model, there isn't nearly enough bend, meaning when they jump they won't be able to jump as high. Furthermore, his hand isn't completely on the back of the ball. There's at a slight angle, and this can lead to the trajectory of the ball being off, as he won't be able to push the ball straight, compared to the perfect model, where it should be behind the ball. However, in this stage, the elbow is positioned in a very good place, as it is at 90 degrees to his shoulders, and he does have his non-shooting hand on the side of the ball. Next is the execution phase. Again, the participant is on the right and the perfect model is on the left. In this phase, there was quite a lot wrong compared to the technical model. First of all, as it's a jump shot, they're meant to jump off the ground. But as you can see in the model, in the picture, he hasn't jumped at all and only really raised onto his toes. This could lead to his shot being more likely to be blocked in a contested game, as he isn't jumping up and shooting over the defender's outreached arm. Secondly, he hasn't locked out his arm when releasing the ball, meaning his arm isn't completely straight, and this can lead to the trajectory of the ball being off and not going as high and reaching the basket. Thirdly, they have sort of projected the ball upwards, however, their arm isn't straight up next to their ear and is slightly in front of them. This will affect the angle of the ball and make the shot harder. Finally, there's the recovery stage. As you can see in the picture on the right, the participant hasn't really done much of a recovery stage, as he didn't hold the form of his shot at all after releasing the ball and just brought his arms back to his sides straight away, and this can mean that there was an element of him rushing his shot. He also didn't put any measures in to make sure he didn't rush the shot. As I've just said, he didn't hold his shot afterwards. However, when performing the shot, he was calm all the way through. Finally, I will be talking about the advantages and disadvantages of a technical model. So, an advantage of this is that it is effective with experienced athletes. And this is because they are knowledgeable in the sport and know what to look for when watching the videos and can see what they're doing right or wrong compared to the professional athlete. Secondly, they are able to replay it on video. This is useful as the athlete and coach can watch it back multiple times in order to figure out what they need to improve on. Next, you can use direct comparison with the perfect model when possible, as on some softwares you can line up your technique with a professional's technique, and you can analyze what's the difference and where you need to improve. Finally, you can see fine details, and this will allow you to make sure your form is perfect. Moving on to disadvantages, the technical model may be worse for beginners as they are not sure what they should look for in the perfect technique and won't know what on their technique they should improve. It is also harder with fast-paced sports, as they will be performing the technique very quickly, and it could be hard to pick out different points where they need to improve. Next, they must have technical knowledge and experience, and if they don't have this, they may be unable to figure out what they should improve. And finally, it requires a good angle when videoing it, so you can see the different points of the technique so you can improve it. Thank you for watching.